Hello and welcome to my kitchen. My name is Sunshine, and today I'm going to be cooking empanadas stuffed with chicken tinga, manchego cheese, served on top of an avocado crema with a pomegranate corn salad. So first I'm going to start by making my masa because it's going to need a little time to set. So I've got a few cups of white corn flour ready to go. And I'm gonna incorporate a little bit of cheese, a little bit of cotija cheese. This is a nice dry cheese. I like to put it in my masa because it gives it a little bit of flavor. And I also like adding a tiny bit of melting cheese, a cheese of your choice. In this case, I'm using Monterey Jack cheese. And I'm slowly going to incorporate some warm water. I have 3.5 cups of water with a little bit of butter in it. And I'm gonna put a glove on because, well, I have fingernails and so it's not exactly easy. So I'm just gonna incorporate a little bit at a time as I'm gonna start mixing this masa. And after I get this mixed, I'll just set it aside. I'll give it some time to rest, just about 10 or 15 minutes. And while I'm waiting for that to rest, we'll be moving on to other things. So one of the signature dishes I love to make is chicken tinga. I love the smokiness of it. I like anything really that's a chicken dish. Dark meat chicken is always my favorite. But this is a nice smoky, flavorful dish made with chilies, smoked chipotles, a little bit of chorizo. Without the chorizo, it actually is not a tinga. That's what makes it a tinga, is the chipotle peppers. So we'll just start to incorporate all of the masa. It feels nice and wet, not too wet. We still have a ways to go. So we're just gonna keep working this. And I'm gonna go ahead, put my other glove on, and move this to the counter where I can really start to integrate. So we have a little bit of dry flour at the bottom. So I'm just gonna keep working this in. It's pretty moist. So I don't think I'm gonna add any more of the warm water because I don't want too much moisture in here. I definitely like my empanadas with masa rather than pie pastry or puff pastry. I think it's a little more of an authentic flavor. I think the corn is a beautiful complement to the smoky chilies and the chicken. So personally, that is how I like to do it. I don't have anything against empanada crust done with pie crust, because who doesn't like pie crust? But for this particular dish, this is my favorite way to do it. So the dough is starting to come along. As you can see, it's starting to stick together. This is starting to look good. Starting to stick together. Feels right. So we're gonna get this back in the bowl. Give it a few more turns. Put it back in the bowl, let it rest. All right, so we'll set this aside. And we'll cover it. I have a wet towel here just to keep it from drying out. So we're just gonna set this aside, let it sit about 15 minutes, and we're gonna move on to making our sauce. So this sauce has onions, garlic, thyme, marjoram, some bay leaf, chorizo, some stewed tomatoes. It's really lovely. It's pretty basic, but packed full of flavor. So just gonna get our pan warm, get our onions cut. Onions are cut. There's a little oil in our pan. Pan's been warmed, so it's ready to go. Got our onions. These few scraggling pieces, a little bit of a chop. And get our onions in a pan. So we've got our onions on. Get a little bit of our garlic chopped. I was lucky enough to visit Oregon lately. My friend's mother, Hannah, has the most beautiful garden. And every time I go to visit, she's always has something coming up from that. Her garlic is gorgeous. It's so huge. And the flavor is so fabulous. So I definitely snagged everything that she was willing to give me, and I brought it back with me. Anything that I can get on the plane and bring back, I take. So let's just start to mince this down a little bit. Smells so good. I don't think there's anything better in a house than when you smell onions and garlic. When you go to the family's house and your grandparents are cooking or your mama's cooking and you smell the onions and the garlic, and you just know that something is great is going to come from that, because that is sort of the base of everything that smells fabulous. We're cooking our onions down. I'm gonna go ahead and start to add the chorizo. Get it on a little bit of heat. So everything's gonna kind of come together. We're gonna blend this later. It's going to make our sauce. So I've got some stewed tomatoes. I have some thyme, some marjoram. I have salt and some chipotle peppers, which is sort of the key between the chorizo and the chipotle peppers. This is the key to what makes tinga. So we've got those ready to go. I'm gonna throw in this garlic. Give everything a good stir. Start getting this chorizo blended with these onions. Smells good already. All right, so we've got that started. So I'm gonna go ahead and take out a few of these chili peppers, and I'm gonna clean some of the seeds out of them because there can be a lot of heat in there. And I don't want so much heat in the dish that it overwhelms the flavors, but I do want the smokiness of the peppers. These were actually not packed in vinegar, so I have quite a bit of sauce in here, which I think will be ample, but I do like to add a few of the peppers themselves. So I'm just gonna dice these up. Take a couple of these aside and put these back into this sauce, which I'm going to add with our tomatoes in just a few moments. So our chorizo is coming along, the garlic is coming along. I'm gonna go ahead and add some dry spices. I like to add the dry spices before I start putting all the tomato in, while I have a little bit of a base. I feel that the flavors really sink into the onion, they blend, and I think give a better flavor than if I was to add them at the end, sort of at a broth. And they just need a couple minutes. You can kind of tell when they're ready, they start becoming really fragrant. You can smell the herbs coming up off. You can literally smell everything happening in the pan, and that's kind of how I know where I'm going. So I'm gonna go ahead and take these chipotles. I'm gonna add a little bit at a time because I wanna make sure that I stay on top of the heat. I don't want it to be overwhelming. I just want it to have that nice smoky flavor. This smells absolutely fabulous. You can smell the smokiness of the peppers. I can already taste this dish coming together. So what I have here is I have some fire roasted tomatoes. I've roasted them, they're peeled, they're ready to go, and a little bit of their juices. And so I'm just gonna go ahead and add these in. I'm not going to chop them, as I'm gonna be putting them in a blender later. So I'm just going to go ahead and sort of mix all of this together. And as they cook, they'll sort of start to go ahead and break down in this sauce. As you can see, the sauce has a lot of color. It smells lovely. And I'm gonna add just a little bit of salt. And I'm gonna add a couple of bay leaves. These are a Turkish bay leaf. They came from one of my friend's mom's trees. So another lovely thing I've been gifted with, some really lovely bay leaf. So I'm just gonna go ahead and let this start to blend. I'm gonna turn down the heat ever so slightly. And just let this all nicely come together. So, take a minute and move a couple things and move on to doing our avocado creme. So I have a few ripe avocados. I have some sour cream, a little bit of garlic, a few spices. Excuse me. You can feel those chilies. So I'm gonna grab my food processor. I've got some chilies waiting, some lime, some garlic powder, salt and pepper, some cream, and some ripe avocados. So I'm gonna go ahead and grab my food processor. And I have these ripe avocados. I've got some limes already cut up. And I have just a little bit of salt, some garlic, and a little bit of pepper. So I'm gonna grab my knife. And I'm just gonna take a second. Give this just a little stir. Make sure nothing's sticking, which it's not. Very fragrant, smells good, looks good. I think we're definitely on the right track here. Okay. So I have my avocado and I'm just gonna put it right into my food processor. Squeeze a few avocados out of there. Grab a spoon. Avocados are one of my favorite foods. They're so diverse. Just the right kind of fat in them. I used to make avocado bowls for my son when he was little, and we would just sprinkle some lime, a little bit of cheese, and we just had a meal. It was lovely. So I've got the avocado, and here I have some Mexican sour cream from the market. And then I've got just some salt, pepper, some garlic, simple ingredients, a little bit of lime, I'm gonna add a little more salt. Perfect. Okay, we are getting a little bit warm over here, so let's just turn this down. This smells so good. This is lovely. This is honestly one of my favorite dishes. I love making chicken tinga because it's so diverse. You can make a really good tostada with it. You can stuff arepas with it, and today we're gonna do empanadas with it. So it's a good staple and serves a lot of different purposes. Okay, so we're gonna go ahead and put this on. Start and get that started. Beautiful. So let's grab something to go ahead and scrape down the sides. You know, lots of stuff gets stuck on the side, and we want to make sure we incorporate everything in this dish. Wow, that's good. Perfect. Perfect amount of salt, just enough pepper, and you can just have a hint of garlic, but it is definitely not overcooked. Beautiful. Smooth, creamy, gorgeous. Absolutely gorgeous. So let's pull this out. Let's see if I can get this out. Okay, well, my hands are a little sticky, so let's just try this another way. Go ahead and scrape this off to the bowl. Beautiful, beautiful color, beautiful texture, so smooth. The avocados were perfect to blend. They were just soft enough to be able to blend easily without being browned. The taste is fabulous. I'm not gonna lie, it's starting to make me hungry. Good thing is I get to eat this at the end, so that's even better. It's gonna make it, it makes it all worth it. Okay. That's delicious. So our avocado cream is done. And now we're gonna move on to prepping our corn salad. We're gonna give this a few more minutes. And let's move this aside. Get our cutting board. And we're gonna start chopping for our corn salad. So for our corn salad, I have some fresh corn, cucumbers, lime, some beautiful tomatoes, some Persian cucumbers, and some red onions. So very simple. Just in case you're wondering, I have a really old dog that's like 16 years old, and unfortunately he has slight issues. So if you hear him in the background, I swear I'm not ignoring somebody's grandpa or anything's going wrong. It's just my old dog. So bless his heart. He loves to be in the kitchen. He can't see, he can't hear, but he can smell. So that's why he's hanging out. So that's the story there. But see, he wants what he can smell. He loves the smells, and if I don't feed him what he smells, he starts barking at me. He's the sweetest guy. Okay, so we have some cucumber, and I'm just going to slice these tomatoes. Really beautiful tomato. The one thing I love to do with the tomato is salt it. I really hate that my cutting board is moving right now. I have to be really honest about it. I had house guests and they put my cutting board through the dishwasher, which I don't put anything through the dishwasher. It's never been the same since. So I definitely think new cutting boards might be on my Christmas list this year. So I love a fresh corn salad. One of the things I love is bodacious corn from Oregon. It is huge and juicy and comes from these amazing farms. And it doesn't taste like anything else you get. No matter where I've gone, what kind of corn I have, I never find anything like it. I definitely think I'm partial to Oregon. I would say the Oregon strawberries are the best in the world. And Dungeness crab, I think, is literally the best crab on the planet. And I've eaten crab in Thailand, in Australia, New Zealand. Name it, I've eaten it. I don't think it's better. I think it's the best. So I'm a little bit biased when it comes to corn and just certain things that come out of the region. There's just nothing that beats it. Kind of like a good glass of Pinot Noir. We all know that Oregon is known for their Pinots. Okay, so this looks like got enough. So what I want to do here is I just like to salt these a little bit. It really brings out the flavor. The tomato, you know, brings out the complexity of it, the beautiful flavor. It lets the tomato really come into its full flavor. So I've got that done. To go ahead and get these on a plate. These chipotle peppers. Go ahead and just slide these over. And I'm gonna grab a towel. I'm gonna flip this cutting board over only because it's slipping. I feel like it's dangerous. That seems way better. Okay. All right, so now I'm just gonna cut some of this beautiful corn off the cob. This isn't corn from Oregon, but when in Rome, do as the Romans do, I guess. I think corn is lovely raw. And when I do cook it, I really only cook it for a few minutes. I think anything longer ruins it and is shameful. I know that people will always think I'm serving raw corn, but it's perfectly cooked. It's crispy. When you massacate it, it just becomes like a dried out kernel, and really all it's good for is getting stuck in your teeth, to be honest. So go ahead. Start chopping our onion. So I have a little bit of diced onion. And we have some lime. Okay. Since I'm multitasking, it's kind of time to, I'm gonna remove some of these. So we're gonna transfer this sauce into the blender. Let's see. Well, okay. Well, I can't lie. Sometimes I'm not always in charge of the house. Sometimes there's people here and I have to go on the hunt for where everything is back, but normally I'm pretty much know where everything's at. Not a big deal. The one good thing about being from Oregon and being a camper is that you can probably figure out how to use just about anything. To cook anything, make anything. So it gives you skills, survival kitchen skills. Even though it's a horrid sound. It's like the nails on the chalkboard. I apologize. That's it. I promise it's over. Okay. So I'm just going to give this a nice little punch. I have some chicken broth wafers, so if I want to smells absolutely amazing. Beautiful. Spicy, smoky, full of flavor. Perfect. Perfect for the chicken to go back into. So, I wish I could say I had a plethora of pans and just like a stack of them waiting for me underneath with a big bucket where I can toss them. But this is a part of reality. This is my pan. Okay. So get the pan back on the heat. Start to heat it up. We'll get the sauce back in here and we'll add some shredded chicken. So I already roasted a chicken. And I have it shredded. Here's my little helper. I know, you want to eat my scraps? Peanut wants to eat my scraps. That's what he does. So I've got some chicken over here. I shredded it earlier. I probably have to admit I ate a lot of the dark meat. I have a tendency to do that with the chicken. Because, I mean, it's the best part, right? So, that's kind of what I did. So we've got our chicken, we've got our sauce. So I'm gonna go ahead, put this back in the pan. And start adding the chicken. The other thing I love about this dish is I usually, like everything I make, because I'm so used to having such a huge family, I cook way too much of everything. So I always have leftover. And so there's so many creative ways to make it, to do a take on a Benedict, smoky Benedict with a poached egg. This sauce with hollandaise sauce is actually really lovely. A little bit of chicken. So we're gonna just kind of incorporate this. Turn it down low. Nothing really needs to cook. We just really want the flavors to blend. And we want to just kind of blend them and then set them aside because we don't want them really hot when we go to fill the empanadas. All right. All right, so we got that done. Okay, so we've got our corn salad started. Got some lime juice, got some onion. I love red onion. Not only is it beautiful, it tastes fabulous. A little lime. Juice. Just a little bit of salt. And I'm going to grab a bowl and start to incorporate all of these flavors. So let's grab a bowl. The only thing I long for in life is somebody to wash the dishes. I love being in the kitchen by myself. Normally I'm way better about cleaning as I go, but if I could have one thing, somebody would come and just knock at my door and say, "It smells lovely, can I do your dishes?" That would probably make me really happy. So, yes, peanut. Yes, peanut. I know you want some. Okay, so let's just take a little taste of this and kind of see where we're at. Perfect. So I want to take this off the heat because I don't want it too warm. I don't want it hot when I'm going to go assemble these empanadas because it will mess with the masa, the firmness of the masa. And I don't want there to be too much steam or heat because I want them to fry well. So I'm just going to put this, get it in a bowl. I'm going to get it off of the heat. anything that spills over the side is just dying to be eaten. So, and that's pretty much how we're gonna handle that. Okay, we're gonna set that aside and let it cool. So we have our avocado cream. We have our thing I put together. And the other thing I'm gonna incorporate with this is some really beautiful Spanish Manchego cheese that I got. I love the nuttiness and the creaminess of this. I think it's very complementary to the spicy, smoky flavor of the chicken. So we'll just kind of keep this moving around. We want it to cool down a bit. So I've got some pomegranates here, some seeds worked in. Added a little bit of salt. Got some lime juice. And I actually have a really beautiful pomegranate molasses. Just gonna add a tiny bit of that. And let's get this. Incorporated. This salad is full of color. It's a lot of flavor. It doesn't really need a lot. Simple, it's healthy, it's beautiful. And it goes really nice with a spicy dish. So let's get this a little bit of time to kind of blend its flavors. And we'll kind of come back and see where it's at. The other thing we're going to add to this is some fresh avocado. So, ooh, these chilies. Excuse me. Ooh, chilies are spicy. They're good, but they are definitely spicy. Add one more. Oh. All right. I have a feeling this might need a little more salt, but let's just try it first. All right, definitely more lime, definitely more salt. But we are off to a really good start. So I'm just gonna set this aside as well and let it sort of marry together. It's Funny how when you go to do a project, you start realizing all the kitchen things you think that you could. Just when you thought you had everything, right? I mean, do we ever have everything we need in the kitchen? I don't know. I don't think so. Okay, so I'm gonna set this aside. I kind of feel like it needs maybe just a few more tomatoes. Thing looks beautiful, but these tomatoes, I'm not really sure they should be left behind. Can never have enough salad. These are so beautiful, so tasty. I love it. Okay, so we're gonna mix this up, set it aside, kind of keep our eye on our chicken. We're just at this point wanting it to cool. We're gonna have to start forming some of our empanadas. So I'm just gonna move a few things out of the way. Things over. Get these ingredients out of here. Don't mind me. I love pomegranate seeds. I love pomegranate juice. All right. So this is what happens when you cook for a lot of people on a regular basis. You don't know how to make anything on a small scale. And that's okay, because nobody leaves hungry, and all the young people in college, all the younger generations, love a good doggy bag. So this is terrible. Okay. I have to remind myself that I can't just eat this chicken because I'm actually kind of hungry. It does smell delicious. Okay, so I have my tortilla press, and I'm just gonna grab a sheet pan, turn my oil on a little bit. It's at 250 now, so I just need it to come up to temperature ever so slightly. Here. My filling. Okay. Okay. Might be a little thicker than I want, but this is like a tiny amount of filling. With this cheese. So, feeling like my dough is slightly dry. This is not what I want. I don't want to see it crack, and it shouldn't be falling apart. So let's see if we can medicate this a little bit. A tiny amount of chicken broth. And it definitely does need a tiny bit more moisture. So let's see if we can give it a little love. Probably not much, but definitely some. Definitely don't want it to crack. We don't want it to open either. The kitchen's fairly small, so unfortunately there's big windows. Kind of sits in the sun a little bit. Probably dried it out a little bit. But the good thing about masa is it's pretty forgiving. So let's just see if we can put this back in. Get a little bit of moisture to it. Feels better already. And we'll just try this again. You know, when my ancestors bead, my family beads in Native American culture, they always put one bead out of place. And what that signifies is that nothing in life is perfect. It's kind of like being in the kitchen. It's trial and error. Sometimes mistakes taste amazing, and sometimes mistakes in the kitchen will chase your guests away. So who knows? But we're in it together. So this feels better already. I think that might have been just the remedy that we needed. So we can fry this one at the end for peanut, even though you can't eat it, it's too spicy. Okay, so let's give this another try. The dough already feels better. I already feel the difference. Okay, take two. Let's see if this comes out any a little bit better. I know the chicken looks great. I do love to throw this chicken on a good crispy tostada with shredded cabbage, red cabbage, or even a really good crispy lettuce. With cheese, sour cream. Oaxacan cream is probably my favorite. Some avocado, it's delicious. Finger food. All right. Sometimes if you love something, it will love you back. So this is loving us back. So here we are. Beautiful. The masa is beautiful. Just needed a little extra. So we've got one down. These are definitely entree sized empanadas. Let's see if we can dial it back. They're a little bit big. Not that anybody will complain, but I think a few of those on a plate, I don't know. Making my hips cry already. Can't be going out like that. And I can't just have one empanada on a plate, right? That just doesn't sound satisfying. So let's do this again. Adjust, adjust, and readjust, right? this is a little better. But don't tell anybody because that one's actually mine. See? Gordon, you can't have that one. That one's from me. Looks like a really good, I can't say midnight snack because I never make it up to midnight, but looks like a good afternoon cheat delight, especially after a long day of teaching yoga. All right, so let's look at our oil. Okay, our oil is just about perfect. It's right about 350. So it's going to be ready to go for us. The moss is beautiful. The adjustments we've made are working. The flavors, the house smells lovely. I had to throw some cheese down on the ground for the dog to be quiet because if you don't give him what he wants at this old age, he definitely can't hear you say no because he's deaf. So he has all these great excuses to act like a crabby old man. And he's just kind of a crabby old man at this age. But he's 16, so he can pretty much do what he wants. And he's definitely my partner in crime in the kitchen. Okay. So. All right, so I think we're drying out a little bit. So what I have in the cup is just some chicken stock. And we're gonna go ahead and put this wet towel that was over it. It's a little bit dry in the house. It's hot, as we all know. It's like record-breaking heat everywhere. Definitely changes the temperature in the home. And honestly, it's funny how climate affects everything from canning to what you're making to how long things can sit out. And bless anybody that's not having a barbecue all summer in Arizona this year. All right, so this is starting to stick. So we're gonna scratch this piece of wax paper. Grab another small piece. We're bobbing and weaving here through the issues. I wouldn't expect it to be any other way. If I didn't have anything I would do, there would be not one single problem. So I love Murphy's Law because it definitely applies to most of us. What do they say? Like, you got to roll with the punches? Pretty sure that's what they say. So here we are. And I think we're going back to being too thick again. Let's try this again. No pressure, no pressure at all. No pressure at all. All right. We're still in it. think one of my favorite things to eat is literally just fried corn tortillas, fried corn chips with salt. Like, it's probably the best tasting thing you could eat on the planet. I don't really need to go out for Mexican food because I usually find it underwhelming in a handful of restaurants in the United States. But if you just put a big bowl of chips in front of me, I find myself to be completely satisfied. And I don't leave hungry. And all I need is some good salsa and that nice crispy salty chip. It's the best thing. That's the best thing. I have a feeling that secretly, that's actually why people love Mexican food so much. It's for that exact reason. All right. So, we'll go ahead and check the temperature of our oil. Do a little test fry with the big boy, Big Daddy over here. Just kind of see where we're at. And just to be really clear, I'm usually not this messy in my kitchen, but come on, girl, stick with me. Oh boy. Okay. Let's put one more out there. Let's see. Let's do one more. Like pick of the litter, right? Poor things. Being judged for sure. All right. Okay, we're getting somewhere. Double check the heat on the oil. We don't want to be too hot. It is going to go down a little bit as we start to enter these. Let's see if we can make this happen. So our oil is a little hot. So we're gonna bring it down. Bring the heat down. And I'm just gonna go ahead and put this big boy in there. We're about 375, so it's a little hotter than I would like. And as we start to put these in, the heat will go down a little bit. So we're just gonna turn the burner down. give this a little fry, and then we'll put the rest of them in there, and we will kind of go from there. So we'll just keep our eye on that. And I'm just gonna move a few things around here. Put this poor sad little broken tester off to the side. Peanut in his younger day might have been able to eat it, but I don't think so because it's pretty spicy. Sure if I've ever seen my kitchen be this messy all at one time. Those are the things we don't focus on because then you get distracted. So I have a couple of different plates. I like a white plate. I think when you have a beautiful white plate, gives you the opportunity to really kind of showcase color. We made a little bit of cilantro oil as well. And I've got some of the pomegranates here. A little bit of chile. Some cilantro. And this is a really lovely Oaxacan cream, which is my favorite. Has like a nuttiness. It's not sour at all. It has like this beautiful nuttiness about it. It's a sour cream. It's my go-to sour cream. It kind of has an almond flavor to it. It's just very rich and the texture is beautiful. There's just nothing bad to say about it. It's lovely. Okay, so our oil has come back down to 350, so we want to make sure that we kind of maintain it. So it's going to lose a little more heat as we fry. And as you can see, that's got a beautiful golden brown. This is Big Daddy. This is the one that I'm saving for myself, of course. Imagine that. So we'll go ahead and bring the heat up a little bit. And we'll just let this cook in here. And then we're gonna add the rest of our empanadas. Get them nice and golden brown, and we are almost there. It's almost time to eat. So I'm just gonna grab a couple of spoons. And things that I need. So the oil has gone down quite a bit in heat, so I just want to bring this back up. Just gonna give this another minute or less. I'm gonna let the oil come back up to heat quite a bit. It dropped quite a bit just from this one empanada. So I'm gonna go ahead and bring it back up to heat. Make sure that it is at a good frying temperature. Go ahead and bring this out. And I definitely think a little bit hotter, the better, just to get that crispy masa. The masa is thick and it's cold, and so it's really gonna bring the temperature of the oil down. So I wanna make sure I get that nice crunchy crust. So we're gonna go ahead and heat the oil back up. And just give it a minute. For fun, let me grab a cutting board. Let's just take a little peek and see what we have happening here. So we can hear the crunch. It's got a nice little crunch to it. Looks good. Masa looks cooked through. Definitely could probably use a little bit more time on there. So we will make sure we're gonna get the other ones just a little bit darker, a little bit crunchier. Get them a little hotter. Get the oil hotter, get them a little more cooked. So close, but even for a test dummy, it's pretty good, I'm not gonna lie. So we know where we're going on the test batch. That looks lovely. Okay. Our oil is heating up again. We're gonna go ahead and leave this where it's at and start adding our empanadas. Sounds beautiful. And I'm just gonna come back here and take another bite. I just need to really make sure I'm doing this right, you know. I think this is the best part about being the cook. Or snacking. Chicken's beautiful. The manchego cheese is honestly the most perfect cheese for this dish. I'm gonna share a little piece with the cameraman. Gotta feed the crew, right? Gotta feed the crew.
That's good.
Is it good? Mm-hmm. Good. Okay, good. We're approved. We're approved. Okay, so those are getting golden. They sound great. They're looking wonderful. The oil's at the right temperature. Everything's coming along. So we've got the avocado cream. I made some cilantro oil earlier. And I'm just going to put a nice little dollop of this avocado cream on this plate. And just give it a good smear. The color is beautiful. It's so velvety. It's so hard not to just want to dip into it. So we've got that ready. We're gonna go ahead and turn our empanadas got a really nice color to them. They're a little bit nice and dark. This is gonna give us that little bit of crunch that the first one is missing. They look perfect. They're doing great. The heat is right there. So we're coming along. Boy, the smokiness from this is just perfect. When you taste it by itself, it can seem like it's a little bit hot. By the time you add the masa to the bite and you add the nuttiness of the cheese, it's a perfect blend. It balances out the heat. So you have a little bit of heat, you have smokiness, you have cheese, and you have the crunchiness of the masa, of the shell. And it's just gorgeous. I couldn't be happier with it. Well, I could always be happier with it, but I'm pretty happy right now. So these are coming along. As you can see, they're really golden brown. They have a beautiful color. The edges look nice and crispy. And they're just about ready to come out. So we're gonna bring these out. We're gonna put a couple more in. We're gonna bring these out. We're gonna let them sit for a minute. We're gonna plate them along with our salad. So we know we've got this broken one, but even things that are broken things need love too. So we're gonna cook it anyway. All right, we've got those in. We've got these cooling on a rack. They're gorgeous, they're crunchy. The filling is amazing. We're well on our way. So I have some pomegranate. I have a little bit of oil. So I just want to get the empanadas on here. Get a little bit of the salad. Start plating a little bit of this beautiful corn and tomato salad. The fresh avocado, tomatoes look beautiful. I love a good Persian cucumber. Just gorgeous. God. Fresh cilantro. I have to say, I'm so grateful I don't have the soap gene. I don't even know what you would call it, but I'm glad I don't have it. I love cilantro. Okay, let's go ahead, turn these over. So our oil has stayed nice and hot. I'm going to turn that down just a little bit. And I'm going to take our first empanada, just sort of place it. Right here. Oh, that was not good. This is when you feel like that commercial, that brownie commercial where they yell, no. That's pretty much what's going on right now in my head. Right? All else fails, I could make a brownie commercial. Okay, let's make sure that I keep an eye on what's happening behind me. Okay. Now, I never claimed to have plating skills. I have flavor skills. But I will say, this does look like it's ready to be dipped into, eaten. Lovely, appreciated. So this is my empanadas with chicken tinga, manchego cheese, and a corn salad. So, bon appetit. Thank you so much. Yeah.